We've talked about so many things in the past few weeks about how and why this game is not good, from bad attacking AI to stupid in-game mechanics. But today we are discussing the biggest issue that has been affecting FIFA for nearly a decade: inconsistent gameplay. This thing has been plaguing our game for an unbelievable amount of time, and the thing is, you guys know about it. It's this concept of our players turning like trucks or being stuck in mud, which again, we all know about. In fact, look up on Google FIFA players turn like trucks and notice how often and how long it's been talked about. My players turn like a truck. My players turn like trucks, take awful first touches. There's no way that one game it feels smooth and your players do everything you ask, and the next game, they all turn like trucks. Now, of course, players turning like trucks is a major issue with inconsistent gameplay, but the reason why this is the biggest problem is because it affects everything involved with gameplay. Dribbling, touches, defending AI, attacking AI, passing, shooting. I do literally mean every single part of the game. You've probably heard of this concept from Inception. He's the one who usually makes these hour-long videos about inconsistent gameplay, and it feels like Christmas time whenever he drops one. Now, I'm not as knowledgeable about this topic as he is, probably because he's been making these types of inconsistent gameplay videos since literally FIFA 15, but maybe, just maybe, if we talk about this topic enough, EA can change it, but you know, probably not. But at least we're venting about it, which is good for someone who can't afford therapy. So how does it affect every single thing in the game? Well, I am so glad you asked that question. In a general sense, everything is just a lot slower, and let's start with the obvious: dribbling and touches. And in that sense, let's start with Harry Kane, specifically his team of the group stage card. Now, this guy has the first touch plus playstyle. That means he is able to transition to dribbling much faster with greater control. Now, maybe that's true in, you know, good gameplay, but in bad gameplay, it does not really matter that much. In this example, he receives the ball and immediately he becomes stuck in mud. Now, one way I can tell when I'm in bad gameplay is by looking at my players' feet when they receive the ball. They do these little small tippy taps instead of just dribbling. In this case, Kane takes 2 or 3 steps before taking a touch again and passing the ball. Now, here's another example of those tippy taps. You can see at full speed, my player takes a touch a little loose and it forces the player to be slower than they should be. When you slow it down, you can see 1 step, 2 steps, 3 steps before they go to actually start dribbling. And when they do start to dribble, the bad gameplay stops registering your commands, which is a common theme you're gonna see a lot, just FYI. As the defender approaches, you can see that I want to dribble with the left foot of the player, moving away from the opponent, you know, like a not dumb person would do. However, you can see that the left foot phases through the ball, forcing the player to not only use their right foot, but to turn towards the opponent as well. If my opponent was rushing me, they would have a much clearer path to the ball and I would lose it. This whole sequence comes down to inconsistent gameplay. Now, this has been happening throughout the years, and I have an example from the previous FIFA as well. Just goes through his foot, so then he has to reach back, so then it goes slower. He actually has to reach back, take another touch, and then he gets the ball taken off of him. And this type of delay can not only affect your touches in your dribbling, but the speed at which you can release the ball for a pass as well. When I control the ball with Rice, you first of all see the little tippy taps he does before finally passing the ball. This slow, inconsistent gameplay not only affects the speed at which he can turn, but it affects the ability to quickly make a pass as well. Now, I can already hear, oh, that's Declan Rice, he's big and clunky and bleh. Now, that may be the case, but look how he plays in good gameplay. Inception was doing a review over Caicedo, which is where I got this good gameplay from. And the way I saw Rice moving was completely foreign to me. This man was playing at hyperspeed compared to how I normally see him. Just watch what Rice does for Inception here. He's able to take a touch, do nearly a 360-degree rotation, and pass the ball more quickly than my Rice was able to just take a touch and pass. These are the same players at similar parts of the game with similar internet speeds. So what's the main difference here? Inconsistent gameplay. I mean, good God, just look at what his opponent can do. Jesus Christ. So that covers how dribbling and first touches can be worse, but there's more to it than just that. It also affects shooting as well. The whole idea of inconsistent gameplay revolves around players feeling slower and stuck in mud, and that obviously involves shooting as well. Now, being in good gameplay won't make the shooting accuracy better, but it will make the players in bad gameplay be forced to take longer animations for when they shoot the ball, resulting in more blocked shots or perhaps more time for the opponent to move their keeper. Now, I've shown this clip a few times in previous videos, but it is a great example of bad gameplay. I go to shoot the ball with Sanchez, you can see my power bar is loaded up, but Sanchez delays his shot, does those little tippy taps like I mentioned before for touches and dribbling, and it ends up being blocked. Now, some of the shooting animations in general make shooting the ball just a little bit unnecessarily long, even in good gameplay, but the difference between good and bad gameplay is night and day. Watch Inception shoot the ball with Hyunmin Son here. It ends up being a little delayed, again, just because of animations, but if we show the side-by-side between the two shots, there is a clear difference. And it's not just Sanchez either. When my opponent shoots the ball with Sawa here, you can see the player pull her leg back and bring it forward much more slowly than it would be in good gameplay. Now, you may think that these small times don't really mean anything, but for one thing, they do at the higher divisions, and two, it just makes the game less fun and less responsive. It's not just shooting that gets affected by this bad gameplay, passing does as well. Similar to the shooting animations, the passing animations will just take a lot longer and will be slower to complete overall. In my gameplay, watch how slowly they go through their passing animations. It's more emphasized and it looks as though the passing is stuck in mud. It looks like they bring their foot back to make the pass, almost like they are needing a tremendous amount of power, even though the power bar is only at 2 bars or less. This means that the animations and the sluggish gameplay that you get from bad gameplay make it harder to string these quick passes together, especially when it's compared to good gameplay from Inception here. Now, there might be a time or two when the players do bring their foot back to make a pass, but for one thing, it's just quicker in general because the gameplay is better. But not only that, a lot of these passes are done without bringing their foot back, making the overall passing motion faster on 2 different fronts. Comparing the passing side by side, you can see how bad gameplay can make the game slower while passing, and how good gameplay can help you string passes together more quickly and efficiently. This little rondo passing done by Inception is amazing to watch in good gameplay. Meanwhile, I'm stuck with players not even registering the ball as being passed to them. Now, that leads perfectly into the next thing affected by bad gameplay. Some inputs just don't register at all. Now, even in good gameplay, things will occasionally not register, like when Inception passes the ball in this case. When he passes the ball with Rice, it splits between the 2 attackers, and the person who it was switched to must finish their animation before trying to receive the ball. That's pretty bad, right? But imagine that more frequently and just worse. And you may ask, how could it be worse? Just watch. When I make a pass, there are instances when no one, literally no one, will lock onto the ball. How the hell is that even possible? I have no idea. Oh, do you want another example? Yeah, sure, no problem. How about this one? When I don't even have time to manually switch to the player that I'm trying to pass to. Oh, but it's squad battles. It doesn't matter. You're winning 7-0. Who cares? The thing is, if it can happen in squad battles, that means it can happen in any other game mode. You know, like Division Rivals when it's 0-0 in the 70th minute and Sanchez is not locked onto the pass and I cannot get the ball for a goal. Like, I don't even know how that happens. How does that happen? Who didn't play test this game enough to see that players will sometimes not get locked to the ball being passed to them? Now, again, this does happen in good gameplay as well, but it happens far more frequently in bad gameplay, and EA have never addressed it. But you know, they've never addressed inconsistent gameplay in general, so, you know, it kind of tracks at least. That's not the only thing not registering though. Virtually any input can be ignored in bad gameplay. How about a skill move being ignored? Yep, that can definitely happen. Well, what about passing? Yep, the exact same thing. Inception presses X to pass, and yet, no pass is made. Well, what about player switching? Oh my god, dude, player switching. I've talked about player switching being bad in previous videos, and I've seen people be like, just use right stick switching. Yeah, that's broken. In this clip, Holland is running down the sideline, but he takes a bad touch. Naturally, I want to switch to my center back, who can then take the ball off of him. You can see my right stick being pointed perfectly to my center back, but that doesn't matter. My input is ignored and he's able to keep attacking after a bad touch. I also had a viewer, Marcus here, send me a lot of clips of this happening to him as well. In every single clip, this guy has to use right stick switching multiple times in order to switch because it gets ignored once or even twice in some instances. I have no idea how inconsistent gameplay can be a thing when I've literally never seen it in any other video game, but I guess that's just EA being their innovative selves, I suppose. Oh, did you think we were done? Oh no! We're not done. We're not done. Even the AI is worse in bad gameplay. Again, similar to shooting and passing, it's not that the runs are worse in quality in bad gameplay, but they are far more slower and they occur way too late. In this clip, while I send Rice forward by holding L1 while passing, this guy has to go through the entire passing animation, wait until it's completely done, and then he starts running. God forbid he just goes immediately after passing the ball. He must wait a full second before he goes. Compared to good gameplay, you can see Inception's opponent just goes immediately after passing the ball. It's like he just has an animation for going forward after making the pass, and you can see it when the opponent sends multiple people forward. Instead of taking a step or two and then starting to run, they just start running. No sluggishness, no delay, just an immediate turn and go. Every little thing is slowed down. Passing, dribbling, attacking AI, defending and jockeying. Every aspect is affected by bad gameplay, and it makes the game slower, unenjoyable, and harder to play. Now let's get two things straightened out real quick. Number one, this is not a connection issue. Here's my connection speed and latency. I'm wired up with the best internet available, and every other game I play has literally zero issues with inconsistent gameplay. Again, it is not a connection issue. Number two, I know what some of you guys are thinking. Oh, but the bad gameplay affects everyone, so the skill gap between the two players will remain the same. First of all, how are you even defending changing gameplay? That is a scumbum move on your part, Jesus Christ. But second of all, even though bad gameplay does indeed affect everyone, that does not mean it affects everyone the same amount. The reason why those players are good is because of those small nuances, the little fakes and touches, being faster with players switching or passing. We just went into insane detail about how in bad gameplay, everything is worse, and so everything that makes a good player good will dramatically affect their skill level. Compare that to a worse player who doesn't do those small touches or go at a faster speed. They will be worse off as well, yes, but not at the same amount as the good player. Here's what I mean. The player on the left is a very good, skilled player who is able to do all of these nuanced moves. A lot of what makes them good comes from an actual skill gap like quick passing, player switching, and play recognition. Compare this to the player on the right who isn't as good. Their skill is lower because they aren't as skilled in things like, again, quick passing, player switching, and play recognition. And so when those things are dramatically affected, say by 50%, the good player's skill is affected more than the bad player's skill. The good player can still obviously win, but it's going to be a lot harder than it normally would be in good gameplay. You throw in all of the randomness and mechanic abuse as well, and the skill gap is reduced even more. And that's one of the funny things. Even in good gameplay, the game itself wouldn't necessarily be good either. It would just be playable. A lot of the base mechanics would still be bad in bad gameplay, like the attacking AI. We just mentioned how it would probably be better, but this stuff, where an attacker is running towards a defender while a teammate is already in that spot, would still happen. However, making the game have consistently good gameplay would at the very least make the game playable, which should be the bare minimum of a AAA studio game that costs $70. Fixing inconsistent gameplay would literally be the biggest improvement that EA could ever make. It would be a bigger deal than evolutions, fixing the 71 depth glitch, nerfing goalkeeper movement, anything like that. This is, without a doubt, the most detrimental thing that is keeping FIFA from being a playable game. So that is going to do it for this video. Be sure to like and share, because hopefully if we do get this change, it would literally benefit every single player. Obviously, for those who don't like the game, it could potentially help them enjoy the game more. And for those who already like it, which is fine, by the way, they would even like the game more than they normally do already. It's a win-win for everyone involved. So again, be sure to like and share. I would genuinely appreciate it. But like I said before, that is going to do it, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.